This is some of the best fishing I've ever seen. They disassembled the magazines, took out the springs to use as hooks, and tied a pair of pliers to use as lead weights. The biggest exaggeration was that they used a piece of red cloth as bait, but soon a fish actually took the bait. The three of them made every effort. As a result, the fish in the sea was hungrier than they were and swallowed the hook straight away. This is a true story from WWII, and a live bomber was forced to land in the middle of the ocean after running out of fuel because it lost its beacon. The plane gradually sank and managed to surface, only to lose all its vital supplies. Shivering, the three men climbed into a life raft and huddled in a 3-square-meter boat for the night. When they saw a search and rescue plane coming in the distance at dawn, the captain knew he had to draw attention to the situation. But the parachute was lost and the flare was not taken. By waving and shouting alone, the plane flew away. They were in a war zone, which meant there would be no more search and rescue. It's been 5 days since they drifted, and all they can do is fantasize about food when they're hungry and moisten their mouths with homemade beer from their shoes when they're thirsty. The only good news is that the captain found a pencil, and they drew an orientation map and made a simple anchor out of their life jackets to control the direction of the drift. The captain said they had a chance to float to Hawaii. That night, the three men suddenly felt a chill and the sea rained heavily. They drank as much water as they could and collected the excess, temporarily quenching their thirst. But in the blink of an eye, the homemade fishing rod had not been hooked by a fish for 7 days. They were in desperate need of food, and the correspondent, furious and ignoring the captain, pulled out his pocket knife and stabbed frantically at the fish in the sea. Suddenly he stopped. His hand didn't feel right. The captain hurriedly asked him to hold still. It was over. He might have stabbed the raft. The man pulled hard and a huge shark leaped out of the water. After 7 days of starvation, the three men suddenly red eyes. They ate the shark, leaving his stomach, grabbed the undigested small fish, a burst of food. They also used their socks to store up the uneaten fish. After a full meal, a few people finally had a smile on their faces, and the head hand even introduced his sister to the unmarried correspondent. But blessing and misfortune come together. They did not pay attention to the strong smell of blood as attracted swarms of sharks. Fortunately, the sharks did not take the initiative to attack. The three huddled in the skin did not dare to move. The night has been deep. Just woke up the correspondent in a haze by holding up a handful of seawater to wash his face, followed by a scream. It turned out that the shark did not go far. His hand was bitten bloody, but because of the lack of medical supplies, only a simple bandage up. In the twinkling of an eye is already the 12th day of drifting. Anyhow, they are finally calculated. The last bit of fresh water is still consumed. Although they insisted on putting away the anchor, the long-awaited land was nowhere to be seen. Despair gradually enveloped everyone's heart. By the 15th day, the bombardier was looking at his pistol. Having had enough of this ordeal, the correspondent grabbed his pistol and quietly asked him if he wanted something to eat. The darkened muzzle was then aimed at the sleeping captain, and without a moment's hesitation, pulled the trigger. It turned out that it was aiming at the seabird beside his teammate, and the shot directly ruptured his eardrums. But seeing that there was food, the captain did not hesitate to leap into the water. But just picking up the seabird before he could be happy, the two men on the raft spotted a shark not far away. The captain swam back desperately, and the two men wanted to shoot for support, but their guns jammed at the critical moment. Even though his life is on the line, the captain can't afford to lose the food he's been handed. He exploded with an amazing desire to survive and managed to make it back to the boat before the shark. The shark passed through the bottom of the boat and did not attack them. Instead of rushing to carve up the seabirds, Cannonball slowly dropped the last 3 bullets into the water. This symbolized that he had broken off the idea of killing himself. After all the dangers to hold on to this point, even if it is to die, but also to die with backbone. On the 21st day of the drift, the captain wakes up and realizes that no one is guarding the anchor. He is furious. They're going to miss the island because of this. His fellow trainees begin to question the captain. Everything you say is your guess, and you can hide it from them. The captain told the truth. In fact, they could not be sure of their position at all. 4 days past the expected island. Surprisingly, the two men did not blame him for this. They both knew that the captain just didn't want to cut off everyone's hopes. Not ready to give up, the three men made oars out of their shoes and began the difficult task of rowing forward. That night there was lightning and thunder, and the three were habitually ready to catch the rain, but they didn't want it to be a storm. The huge waves directly overturned them, and they could only hold on to the edge of the raft with a death grip. After battling the rain all night, the three men were completely exhausted. After 38 days at sea, the long exposure to the sun had left them with bruises and bloodless faces, and they didn't even have the strength to lift their arms. They began to discuss how the remaining two would be eaten if someone died first. Suddenly he even began to hallucinate as he saw the bomber's sister smiling at him in the middle of the ocean, just as the airport was desperately holding up a handful of seawater to finish himself off. He suddenly looked at a flash of green ants. Three's eyes widened, and yes, it was land. They were ecstatic, and their bodies exploded with infinite power. The waves slapped them on the beach, and Three felt the long-lost land with his face. For 38 days, 912 hours and 54,720 minutes, they managed to overcome the sea. even though human evil tends to be infinitely magnified in extreme situations. This true story shows us that it is obviously more fascinating to survive together than to fight each other.